Hi everyone, my name is Megan, and for my book review, I chose to read the book A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson, and it was published by Anchor Books in 1998. This book follows two main characters, Bill Bryson, who is the author of this book, and after searching for a long time for a companion to hike the trail with him, he eventually seeks out his longtime friend from college, Stephen Katz, or we'll just call him Katz. He's a recovering alcoholic and hasn't really done much with his life, so he has all the time in the world to hike with Bryson and experience the trail with him, but he's not very prepared because he doesn't really know what's in store for him. Bryson and Katz begin their journey through the Appalachian Trail in Georgia, heading north. They soon realize how daunting of a task this really is when Bryson decides that he's going to go ahead and walk his speed along the trail and then stop for breaks to wait for Katz. Katz soon realizes how unprepared he was for this trek. He empties out his pack, throwing things that he feels are too heavy or unneeded throughout the trip, although all the things they packed were essential to their trip. After miles and miles of trails and not speaking to each other or anyone at all for that matter, they begin to lose hope, and looking at a map, they look at it and they've only done about an inch of the entire map. It is then at a point in Fort Royal, Virginia, that they decide to stop. Bryson and Katz eventually meet back up a few months later to hike the finishing end of the trail in Maine. They are dropped off miles before the opening of a section called the 100-Mile Wilderness that is at the very end of the Appalachian Trail, but they soon realize that the 100-Mile Wilderness is nothing as easy as the previous sections of the Appalachian Trail have been. They call it quits because Katz could have died. Although they did not complete the entirety of the Appalachian Trail, what matters is that they gained the experiences that comes along with hiking with all the things that you need on your back and with a companion for weeks on end. All that matters is that they tried. This book is written in a first-person narration, and Bryson's artful imagery allows us as the readers to put ourselves in his shoes and read the book as if we were hiking along the Appalachian Trail. This is only one of many examples of creative artistry that he performs in his book to really make sure that you can almost see what he's seeing or smell the flowers or hear the birds chirping in this book, so you can relate to it and understand why he's writing it. I believe that Bryson's main objectives in writing this book were to increase awareness of environmental problems through first-hand exposure, so you feel like you are there. And he repeatedly bashes the inefficiency of the Forest Service and the environmental agencies in the United States. Another major point that Bryson hopes to achieve is warning readers about the consequences of mistreating the environment by littering in several anecdotes about various towns and cities that have collapsed and been abandoned because of human destruction. While telling us his story, Bryson seamlessly weaves in facts about ecology and the history of the Appalachian Trail. By sprinkling in these facts and tidbits and information about the history of the Appalachian Trail, Bryson reminds us that this isn't just some story that he made up. These facts are real and affecting each and every one of us. This isn't just a made-up story. Another way that Bryson reminds us that this book isn't made up is by including humor and down-to-earth, real conversation when he words it in this dancing motion. It makes you want to keep reading and want to learn more about what he has to say. Along with the humor that Bryson uses, he is also very satirical. He makes fun of a highway that is built from Norwich to Hanover. Not something you would want to put on a calendar called Beautiful New England, but it will shave a further 4 seconds off that daunting trek from Norwich, and that's the main thing. People are compromising beauty of nature for convenience. One of the major themes that is highlighted throughout the book is greed. So Bryson repeatedly puts in stories about how the environment was impacted because a company wanted to make money off of it, or how an area was mined for oil or coal just so people could make a few bucks. So people will do what is environmentally friendly, but only when it is also economically friendly. Another theme that is portrayed throughout the book is gratitude. Bryson and Katz eventually become very gratuitous towards each other, even though they started off on the trail resenting each other a little bit. Bryson resenting Katz for walking so slow and being not fit and unprepared for the trail, and Katz resenting Bryson for dragging him along on this journey that he didn't realize was going to be so hard. They also become very gracious and thankful for the little things in life that we usually take for granted, like clean clothes and running water and easy access to food. On page 302, he notes, "If there is a greater reason for being grateful to live in the 20th century than the joy of stepping from the dog's breath air of a really hot summer's day into the crisp, clean, surgical chill of an air-conditioned establishment, then I really cannot think of it." Air conditioning is something that we take for granted these days. It's hot outside in the summer, alright, we just go inside and turn on the air conditioner. Or if it's freezing cold outside, we come inside and turn on the heater. It's something that we don't truly appreciate or think about, we just do it. Another major theme throughout this book is Bryson warning the readers of environmental impacts and extinctions of many flora and fauna that used to thrive in the United States. Bryson is criticizing these people for overhunting and causing the extinction of many different species just because they wanted to hunt for fun, or because a specific bird looked pretty on a hat. But all these things cause a ripple effect, and it does not just affect the animals in that area. It causes a domino effect that will affect animals all throughout the world. I believe that the intended audience for this book is anyone who can read. He uses simple vocabulary and easy to follow syntax that engages you in his adventures, and he wrote this book so he could envelop you in his adventure, but all the while inspiring you to become more friendly to the environment and more aware of the impacts that we're placing upon it. He brings up a great deal of environmental issues that have been swept under the rug and that we don't get to hear about every day because big companies cover them up with their money that they've made from exploiting the environment. For anyone who is thinking about reading this book, I highly recommend it. It was actually a recommendation to me from one of my roommates last year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll leave you with this one last quote. "I learned to pitch a tent and sleep beneath the stars. For a brief, proud period, I was slender and fit. I gained a profound respect for wilderness and nature and the benign, dark power of woods. I understand now, in a way I never did before, the colossal scale of the world. I found patience and fortitude that I didn't know I had. I discovered an America that millions of people scarcely know exists. I made a friend. I came home. Thanks for watching.